The following is a paid political program, paid for by friends and supporters who feel Colonel Sanders deserves to be governor again.
I, Carl E. Sanders,
I, Carl E. Sanders,
do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of Governor of the State of Georgia, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution thereof, and the Constitution of the United States of America. I do further solemnly swear that I am not the holder of any public money,
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Georgia.
and the state of Georgia.
I do further solemnly swear that I am not a member of the Communist Party, and that I have no sympathy for the doctrines of communism, and will not lend my aid, my support, my advice, my counsel, or my influence to the Communist Party or to the teachings of communism, so help me God. Your Excellency, I am happy to be the first to thus address you, and may God grant to you and to the Commonwealth a wise and successful administration.
As I look back now to that cold day in January 1963 when I was sworn in, I recall well the feeling of pride I felt being selected as governor of this great state. But even more, I remember the feeling of challenge and the burden of responsibility that went with this great honor. That same day, I outlined in my inaugural address my plans and what I hoped we would accomplish during the next 4 years.
This is a new Georgia. This is a new day. This is a new era. A Georgia on the threshold of new greatness. We are faced with both the greatest challenge and the brightest promise of our history. As your 74th governor, it shall be my dedicated purpose to seek workable methods both to meet the challenge and to achieve the promise. And in so doing, we shall apply as a test of our progress not whether we add to those who have much, but whether we provide larger opportunities for those who have little. And this we will accomplish the next 4 years through better roads and highways than ever before, through more schools and colleges, a higher quality of education, more hospitals, and better mental health facilities, new jobs and payrolls, higher income for our people, more new and expanded industry, a better farm and agricultural program, strong program for our youth, improved welfare administration, more parks and recreational facilities, better ports and airports, new and greater opportunities for all.
These were the aims and goals of my administration. Now those 4 years are over. Let's look back to the record and see just what promises were kept and what was achieved. Better roads and highways, Georgia's highways, streets, and roads received $750 million under the Sanders administration. This is more than had been provided by any other administration. The Highway Department was reorganized and placed under the merit system. A 10-member constitutional board was created to supervise its activities and to select the highway director. The board's first move was to make sound plans for Georgia's present and future road building needs. The opening of Interstate 75 to Florida and the downtown connector in Atlanta, the largest interchange in the South, were only two of the major achievements of this administration. More than half of Georgia's highway construction program was concentrated on the state's 1,100 miles of interstate highways. Georgia ranks high today in the completion of its interstate mileage. More schools and colleges. The largest school building program in the state's history was established, and by midway of the Sanders administration, half of Georgia's students were going to new schools. Between January 1963 and January 1967, more than 6,000 classrooms were built, 10,000 new teachers were added to the state's educational system, and practical vocational training became a reality. In fact, 22 of Georgia's 26 vocational technical schools either opened or were expanded during the Sanders administration. There's now one in reach of every Georgian, and together they can train for 50 occupations. This year, more than 30,000 vocational tech graduates are earning an estimated $180 million in Georgia. By 1980, it is expected that 130,000 graduates will earn more than $1 billion a year. A higher quality of education. 4-year funds from all sources for the university system totaled over $500 million. Total building money reached an all-time high of $176.5 million, and state appropriations for building construction totaled $32 million more in the 4 years of Carl Sanders' administration than in the previous 31-year history of the university system. For the first time, the system had adequate space for its students. The University of Georgia Law School Library received a $1 million allotment for books, the largest appropriation of this type in the history of the state. New junior and senior colleges were created. Brunswick Junior College opened in 1964 and was the first new junior college in many years. Others were subsequently built in Albany, in Gainesville, Kennesaw, Dalton, DeKalb, Clayton, and Bibb counties. Georgia Southwestern College, Armstrong State College in Savannah, the Augusta College, and Columbus College were elevated to a 4-year degree-granting status. A new state dental school was established at the Medical College in Augusta. The university system averaged faculty salaries increased over 32%, moving from 10th place to 4th among the 13 southern state universities. Besides salary increases, over 1,000 new faculty members were added, strengthening the university system. Tax relief for parents with sons and daughters in college and vocational technical schools came when the General Assembly enacted my proposal to allow another $600 exemption on their state income taxes. This gave relief to thousands of hard-pressed Georgia parents who must undertake heavy financial burdens in sending their children through college. In summary, I believe that a college education is no longer a luxury but a necessity. More hospitals and better mental health facilities. Georgia's health department was reorganized during the Sanders administration. A new health code was adopted, and veterinary medicine in cities were given representation for the first time on the state health board. The department adopted a new policy of helping communities solve their problems locally rather than depending on one central agency. And since 1962, over $25 million was spent for the direct care in the state's 38 health districts, covering all 159 counties. Improvements included 23 new or modernized public health centers and 21 local clinics for early discovery and treatment of cancer. The state health department also developed new programs to deal with chronic illness and problems of the aging. Air pollution studies and environmental health planning surveys were carried out for both urban and rural communities. Services for crippled children and the maternal and child health services were expanded. And the Sanders administration added almost 4,000 new beds to hospitals and other medical facilities located over the state at a total cost of over $96 million. Some other achievements were the decentralization of a state mental health program, including the renovation of centers in Thomasville and Bainbridge, the construction of several new regional hospitals in Augusta, Atlanta, in Savannah, Columbus, and Rome, the expansion of Gracewood, including more money, new buildings, more psychiatric help, and a rehabilitation center to help the trainable get jobs. The construction of a $20 million, 1,000-bed Georgia Retardation Center in DeKalb County to relieve the waiting list at Gracewood and to help the long-neglected mentally retarded children for Georgia was built. Expenditure of over $15 million was made on buildings and renovation of buildings at Milledgeville. The reduction of the average patient stay in Milledgeville was reduced to less than 3 months. A 10% increase in staff salaries was provided, and an outpatient clinic was established at Milledgeville. The creation of community mental health programs designed to provide for the mentally ill and to educate the community in how to help the mentally troubled, the alcoholic, the retarded, the delinquent, and others who need help and hope. The Sanders administration put more money into mental health programs than any previous administration. New jobs and payrolls, higher incomes for our people, more and new expanded industries. Nearly 1,000 new and expanded industries and businesses added some 200,000 new jobs in Georgia. Unemployment during the Sanders administration was 1/3 less than the national average. Employment reached a record high during these 4 years. The personal income of Georgia's citizens rose by over $2 billion. The key to Georgia's growing economic prosperity was found in her rapid, widespread industrial growth and diversification. Georgia was cited by industrial realtors as having the best industrial development program in the United States and Canada. They had plenty of evidence to support their choice. Construction expenditures topped the $1 billion mark for 3 straight years. $1 billion worth of new industry was located in Georgia during the Sanders administration. A strong program for our youth, a division for children and youth, was created under the Sanders administration. 6 new regional youth development centers were established to keep Georgia children out of the adult jails and prisons. For the first time, a court service worker was provided in each of Georgia's 40 judicial circuits who helped with the problems of children. Progress in the youth program included a 112% increase in the number of children helped, an 82% increase in those receiving foster care, and a 209% increase in those helped in their own homes. The state's Commission on Aging's budget, a combination of state and federal funds, was multiplied 400% during the Sanders administration. As a result, the staff doubled, and new innovations led to community programs for the older citizens. Our state ranks second in the nation in providing such facilities as nursing homes, public housing, and church-sponsored homes Communities were assisted in organizing councils on aging to survey resources and needs and to set up or expand services. The department also moved 1,200 non-psychotic aging people out of the Milledgeville State Hospital and into local nursing homes. The first vendor drug program for the aged and the needy was initiated by the Sanders administration. More parks and recreational facilities. Georgia's state park business boomed tremendously during my 4 years in office. In 1962, the 43 parks had over 3.5 million visitors, but in 1966, the total was over 6 million, a 69% increase. To meet and promote the growth in park usage, the State Parks Department was reorganized. During my administration, over $11 million for operating costs and for new facilities such as shelters, campgrounds, cottages, golf courses made our state parks big, bright, and beautiful. And tourists flocked to Georgia. Stone Mountain, Jekyll Island, operated by state authorities, received their greatest support and became fully developed. 6 welcome centers, located on the interstate highways, became operational during those 4 years, representing a total investment of $280,000 and accommodating almost 500,000 visitors in 1965 alone. Together with the state parks, they lured hundreds of thousands of new tourists into Georgia. The tourist and travel expenditures in 1965 jumped a record 11%. Travel service firms added over 2,000 new employees, and travel contributed about $35.4 million to the state tax revenue in 1965. The travel and tourist industry became a billion-dollar business. Better port facilities and airports. 5 ports serve Georgia, and Georgians are growing more port-minded. Products that affect every county in Georgia come and go through these ports and bring $1 million a day into Georgia's economy. In 1963, the final phase of $11.5 million expansion program was completed, giving the Georgia Ports Authority a total of 22 deep-water berths. Under my administration, the Georgia Ports Authority engaged in another major expansion program, including a $5.5 million expenditure at Savannah's Ocean Terminal and a $1.5 million building program at Brunswick. Airports go hand in glove with modern industry, and 2/3 of the paved airports in Georgia were constructed during the Sanders administration. Georgia led the nation for 2 straight years in airport construction. And being a pilot myself, I know that aviation-oriented industries lead the way in Georgia's economic boom. Besides these promises made, and I believe kept, there were many other achievements accomplished during my 4 years as governor. The Governor's Honors Program was established in 1964. Each year, 400 of the brightest juniors and seniors in Georgia high schools are chosen to spend 8 free weeks of creative learning at Wesleyan College with 40 able faculty members. The students come from every background and every part of Georgia. 7 educational television stations were put on the air during the Sanders administration. With their completion, the 11-station educational television network needed only 1 more station to provide complete statewide coverage. In addition, a $2 million studio located in Atlanta provides creative, imaginative programs for Georgia. During my administration, nearly $9 million, a 670% increase, went to educational television, making Georgia's network one of the nation's best. Georgia's first police academy, a $1 million institution, was built and was opened in 1966. This police academy provides instruction in the most up-to-date police techniques to Georgia's thousands of law enforcement officers. The fee system and speed traps were eliminated, and for the first time in 20 years, Ludowici received a clean rating from the American Automobile Association. The Department of Public Safety added nearly 100 troopers between January 63 and 1967. Working conditions for all state troopers were improved vastly. Salaries increased. Troopers placed on a 5-day work week, and patrol cars were marked and air-conditioned. In addition, 17 new patrol barracks were built. The merit system was introduced. The driver's license division got new quarters and an automatic filing system to implement a full-color photograph license program. The GBI was reorganized and a modern electronic filing system was installed. The State Auto Theft Squad was established and immediately reduced car thefts. The patrol joined the law enforcement teletype system, linking Georgia with every other state in the Union, and Georgia was one of the first states to join in a national computer hookup to allow instant access to crime information. The Georgia Historical Commission, aided by $500,000 from the governor's emergency fund, opened Fort McAllister near Richmond Hill, an Eagle Tavern near Watkinsville, renovated the Mackey House in Augusta, established a gold museum in the renovated Dahlonega Courthouse, a Confederate Naval Museum in Columbus, the Fort Jackson Maritime Museum in Savannah, and a museum at Fort King George in McIntosh County. And last but not least, the new Executive Center, a home for Georgia's governors, is one of the finest in the nation. In addition to conference and guest rooms, it has 2 formal gardens. And my wife Betty painted 25 scenes for a traveling exhibit entitled A Portrait of Georgia to raise the money for the Georgia Marble Fountain located on the premises.
The improvement of education will be the first and foremost objective of this administration. If there is to be a star in the show in the 4 years of my term of office, it will be the Georgia child. Georgia has many rich resources, but none can match in importance our Georgia children. The future is in their hands. Nothing is more important than that we give them the best education which time, knowledge, and money can buy. Our past gains have come only through sacrifice and study, and the gains of the future will be no different. But we must begin to work immediately. We must work without ceasing to achieve quality education geared to future needs. I ask all of you who share my conviction that education and the future are inseparably related to join me in this effort to ensure our state's rightful role in the latter part of this century by inspiring their children to use their minds and to develop their capabilities to the highest possible degree. As we do this, we will become increasingly aware that our state is just now in the spring of her growth. We must not fail to make the most of the golden opportunity which is ours to build a greater Georgia for present and future generations.
This is a very momentous occasion in the life of our state, and at this time it's my very great pleasure to publicly announce that every one of Georgia's 44,000 public elementary and secondary school teachers will receive an additional average salary increase of $200 per year, effective on September 1st of this school year. With the already scheduled $300 pay raise, this means that Georgia teachers will be getting $500 more during the next school year. This also brings to $1,400 the amount of salary increases for public schools and for our public school teachers that have been financed during this administration. In addition to the $200 per teacher raise, Georgia's school bus drivers will also receive a raise of approximately $25 per month beginning September 1st. This has been approved legislatively, provided funds became available. Such funds are now available. The salary increase for teachers will raise the base salary for beginning teachers to $4,200 per year, and the average salary for our public school teachers to approximately $6,000 per year. It will not only reward Georgia teachers for their dedication and their able service to our school children, but it will place our educational system on a competitive basis with other states, both in attracting new teachers and in retaining our experienced teachers. I want to point out also that no additional state taxes are necessary, and repeat that our record surplus of more than $100 million remains totally untouched by these raises. This is a record on which I stand. In my opinion, this is a real issue in this race. During this campaign, there have already been and will be many promises that can't be kept, many false charges made, and even some downright lies told. I ask you to be the judge. I want to thank you for your time, and in closing, let me repeat, as I did in my inaugural address, by saying,
I earnestly seek the support, the advice, and the prayers of all Georgians. You have given me the greatest blessing of faith the people of Georgia can bestow, that of being chosen to serve you in our state's highest office of government. It is a responsibility I accept with humility and a deep sense of duty. It is my heartfelt hope the time capsules of the future will thus record my efforts. He offered to the people his finest, his worst he kept, his best he gave. My friends, our future is brighter than ever before. Together we shall walk in the bright gardens of tomorrow. Together we shall ford all rivers of trial and doubt which may cross our path. Together we shall serve others, and in so doing, serve ourselves. Together we shall build a Georgia on which we, our children, and our children's children can look with pride, and in that certain knowledge that God smiled upon our humble efforts. These are my words. This is my pledge.
This has been a paid political program, paid for by friends and supporters who feel Colonel Sanders deserves to be governor again.